You are watching Educational Broadcasting Channel.
Ayubowan. Today we are going to continue our lesson from where we have stopped. In my previous video, I gave a definition and we discussed the examples for organic compounds, and I gave the definition for inorganic compounds. So today we are going to study about inorganic compounds and its examples. Before that, let's recollect our memory. First, we should know what are inorganic compounds. Inorganic compounds are the compounds which do not contain carbon, right? So examples for inorganic compounds are water, vitamins and minerals. Then we'll discuss each example briefly. So the first example is water. So as you know, water is an important source. If we get the water is in higher proportion, higher percentage in body mass of living organism. And it's 2/3 of body weight of living organism is composed of water. So as we know, water helps to maintain for the maintenance of the living matter. So the table given here explains the specific properties of water and as well as the contribution for the maintenance of the life, right? So here the first property is it is a good solvent. So there the contributions are it provides a medium for biochemical reactions in cells of organism. So here it tells it is a medium, right, for biochemical reaction. You should know what are biochemical reactions. So biochemical reactions are the chemical reactions that take place inside the cells of living beings, right? The next point, the main constituent or the component in the extracellular fluids of organisms. So the extracellular, extra means outside or exist, cellular means cell, right? So the meaning here is the fluids that exist in organisms which are outside of the cells of a organism, right? They can be sealed within cavities of the vessels, right? So here it's a main component in this extracellular fluids. Third point, it facilitates the removal of excretory material and fecal matter of the animals, right? As you know, excretory materials are urine, sweat, right? They have water, right? And the fecal matter of animals, it also contains water. Then importance in respiration of aquatic organisms as oxygen is soluble in water. So the aquatic plants and aquatic animals, they can survive in the water because in the water oxygen is dissolved in water, right? So the second property is a coolant. Here, due to high specific heat capacity in the body temperature, it does not fluctuate quickly with changes in the environment. So here it means, right, either the specific heat capacity is high, right, but the body temperature does not change. The fluctuate means change. It does not change immediately or quickly with the changes in the environment. Third point is high cohesive and adhesive forces, right? So here you should know what is cohesive and adhesive. So cohesive force, it is the attraction between molecules of the same substance, right? So for example, water molecule and another water molecule attraction is a cohesive force. Then adhesive means attraction between two different substances. For example, water molecule and a molecule of another substance, right? Then the fourth property is differential expansion in freezing, right? So you know the density is the mass divided by volume. So density of water is higher than the density of ice, right? So in this winter season, in these cold countries, you can see in these rivers, ponds, you can see the top layer is the ice is deposited in the top layer, right? So you maybe have a question how the aquatic animals survive during this season, right? So the thing is, right, when ice is formed, right, because ice is less density than liquid water, ice layer comes to the top of the water, right? So in the bottom layer you have the liquid water. So the aquatic organisms and these plants, they can survive in the bottom of the river or this water source. Next, our second example under inorganic compound is the minerals. Minerals, as we say, they are important nutrient component to maintain the life processes of organisms, right? So minerals are with two types as trace or micro elements and macro elements. The name the trace or micro means small. So these elements are needed in smaller amounts. That is why we call it as trace element. Then macro means the higher, right? So that means the elements which are needed in higher amount is called the macro elements, right? So the table shown here, it shows the functions of minerals in human body and the deficiency syndromes that you can see of them, right? So the first element there is the potassium, right? So the function of potassium is it helps to control the ionic balance of fluid in the cell, right? So ionic balance means the balance in the charges. So this helps to balance the charges in the fluid, right? Next function for the activity of heart and muscles, right? Third, transmission of nerve impulses. Transmission means transporting. So nerve impulses mean like a signal transmitted along a nerve fiber. We know the neuron, right? It's you will study them in the future, right? So these nerve impulses, the signals are transmitted through this for this purpose the potassium is involved, right? So the deficiency syndromes, like if potassium is not sufficient, if it is not present in the adequate amount, you will cause weakening of muscles, right? Your muscles become weak, and some psychological disorders may occur. Like psychological means the conditions that are related to your mental health, like conditions that can be characterized by abnormal thoughts, feelings and behavior. Such behavior can be seen on if the potassium means deficiency is there. Then the second element is sodium, right? This activates the enzymes. So in my previous video, I explained what are enzymes. So I'm not going to explain it again. So the second point is a component of the digestive juice, right? So digestive juice is secreted, it's released by the digestive system, right? To maintain constant osmotic pressure in cells. Then the transmission of nerve impulses, right? So there the deficiency symptoms of respiratory disorders. You may have difficulty in breathing, such disorders may occur. Then cramps, right? I have given an image, so this image shows the cramps. Normally cramps are the painful involuntary contractions of muscles and the contraction of muscles, right? Next, nausea. Nausea is the you have like discomfort in stomach and you like wanting to vomit. So that is the nausea. Then diarrhea. diarrhea is passing, that means loosen stools, right? Frequently more than your normal, right? That is called diarrhea. Then the third element is magnesium. It is a component of bones and teeth, and to control nerve activity in the skeletal muscle. Then it also helps in the metabolic activities. So the term metabolic activities that mean the sum of all chemical processes that occur in living organisms, either like growth, production of energy, right? These are all, for all these processes they need magnesium, right? So some deficiency syndromes like high heartbeat and nerve irritability can be occur. So this nerve irritability can be occur due to it affects the central nervous system. This may occur, right? Then the next element is the calcium. So calcium, its functions are like growth of bones and teeth, and it helps in blood clotting and for the proper function of nerves. Then or milk production, for the absorption of vitamin B, right? So these are some functions of calcium element, right? Then some deficiency syndromes, right? You can have rickets, right? So this rickets mean softening or weakening of bones. This image shows clearly what happened when the rickets is there, right? Then weakening of bones and teeth, right? Then the growth disorders are there, right? Then the next element is phosphorus. So phosphorus, it is functions are, it helps to growth of bones and teeth, and it is also a component of nucleic acid, as we know, right? Because we have studied it earlier. So it helps with carbohydrate and fat metabolism, right? And this is a instant release of energy in muscle and nerves, right? Instant release means like it immediately release in these muscles and nerves, right? So some of the deficiency syndromes are weakening of bones and become fragile. Here the weakening of bones, you can see the fragile mean these they can be easily broken or damaged is called the fragile, the meaning of fragile, right? Then the next element is iron. Here function is for the synthesis of hemoglobin. When you get the term hemoglobin, you may see what is hemoglobin and what is this, right? So the hemoglobin, right, it is a red protein molecule, right? This is present in red blood cell. In the blood, there are three types of cells, right? Red blood cells, white blood cells, and platelets. In here, in the red blood cells, you can see this red protein. So this is the one which carries the oxygen, right? Then the second function is storage of oxygen in muscles. Third, as a constituent of enzymes, right? It's a component of enzymes. Some of the symptoms, right? Anemia. So this anemia is the deficiency of red blood cells or hemoglobin. If this hemoglobin or red blood cells is less in amount, right, your skin become pale. So that is the anemia, right? So from this image, you can clearly see how what is this disease, right? Next, sleepiness. You will have these symptoms like sleepiness, then hypoactive nature. So the term hypo mean not active, that means less active. Hypoactive nature, so they are not active in physically or mentally. Then weaknesses in psychological development, right? So as I say, the development may be weak due to this deficiency of iron, right? So the next element is iodine, right? So here main function is for the synthesis of thyroxine hormone, right? This thyroxine is a hormone which is secreted by thyroid glands to the bloodstream, right? So it have some deficiency syndromes, like it affects the development of intelligence, right? So the development of intelligence may affect, and lethargic. Lethargic means being lazy, right? And lethargic attitude, maybe therefore towards studies, right? And the limit of body height, right? These symptoms may cause due to deficiency of iodine, right? Then so these are the elements and functions, deficiency symptoms that are in human body, right? Now we are going to study about the functions of minerals in plants and their deficiency symptoms caused for them, right? So here first one is nitrogen, right? So their function is as a constituent of amino acid. We know that proteins, nucleic acids, and chlorophyll, right? So here amino acids, proteins, and nucleic acids, we discussed this in the previous videos. But in the chlorophyll is the pigment which is present in green plants, right? It's only present in the plants. So deficiency syndrome means that retardation in growth. That means the decrease the level of growth. Then chlorosis in leaves. Chlorosis in leaves. So chlorosis, the image is shown how chlorosis happen, right? So that means it reduce the color, right? It reduce the green color, that is called chlorosis, right? Then the next element is phosphorus. So here it is a constituent of nucleic acid and for the production of this ATP, and it's a component in ATP, right? So here the symptoms you have, right? It retards the growth of roots, right? Growth of roots will retard, and it's appear like red and purple patches can be seen on leaves. It is also can be seen clearly in this picture, right? Then the third element is the potassium. So potassium major function is protein synthesis, right? Protein synthesis is a big process. These points will be explained further in on coming videos, right? Then next is opening and closing of stomata. So this step is the stomata is open and closing is shown by this video, this picture, right? This stomata is a tiny opening or a pore which is in plant tissue, right? This is a place where it allows for the gas exchange, right? So you can see where the place how it opens and how it closes, right? Then some deficiency syndromes are chlorosis in leaves. I showed a picture. Then here, due to deficiency of potassium, you can see yellow and brown patches. It also can be seen in this picture clearly. Then the next element is sulfur, right? Sulfur is another component of a constituent of amino acid and proteins, right? So here the symptom you cause is chlorosis in veins. You can see chlorosis in veins and areas between the veins, right? Next element is iron, right? So iron, its functions are it helps for the synthesis of chlorophylls, synthesis of the respiratory enzymes, right? And there especially this symptom is you can see the chlorosis in tender leaves. It can be seen in the tender leaves, right? Then the next element is calcium. It is a component of the cell wall. It is a one which is present in the cell wall, right? And it helps to maintain the structure and function of plasma membrane. So these elements play a major role in these activities, right? And it helps for the activity of enzymes. So here major symptoms are death of tissues and tips of the leaves, right? I have shown another picture here. It will clearly show how these tips of leaves mean death, right? The next element is zinc. Zinc is there for the activity of most enzymes. Synthesis of chlorophyll is done by zinc, right? So here you can see symptoms like dead cells and tissues throughout the plant, extra thickness in leaves, right? So here, due to the zinc deficiency, how this extra thickness is shown in this picture, right? So this is the end of okay, this is the end of our end of this part, right? We'll discuss more about vitamins in from our next video.